Hi everyone, so today I'm back with another side-by-side cushion review, and today I'll be reviewing the newly released Maybelline New York Super BB Cushion Fresh Matte. It comes in this bluish kind of packaging, and if you guys have been on my channel for a while, I also reviewed the Super BB Cushion, the regular formulation from Maybelline as well. And yeah, this is in the shade 03 and this is in 02. I found that 03 is a little too orangey for me, so I picked up 02. So in terms of color match, this might not be exact, but we'll be trying out the formulation. And similarly, I'll be trying the new release on my right side and I'll be trying the old release on my left side. Should you want a full in-depth review on the first release of the cushion from Maybelline, then do check out my video below on this original formulation. But if you want to see the fresh matte in comparison with the old one, then this is the review for you. So if you're interested to find out how these two compare against each other, then just keep on watching. Okay, so this is my skin condition at the moment. I do have quite a bit of acne scar and textured surfaces. I have a lot of tiny bumps on my face, so I'm not too sure what's causing that, but it kind of feels like acne, but it's just many tiny bumps on my skin, so that's kind of annoying as well. So not much else to say about that, but if you guys watch a lot of my foundation reviews, you would know my skin type, and if you're similar to me, then yeah, my review will be pretty accurate in terms of that kind of a description. So yeah, I'm just going to be trying the old formulation on this side. I'm just going to apply it with the puff. Okay, so this is half my face applied with the old formulation of the Super BB cushion, and as you can see, the shade match isn't entirely right for me just because it's a little bit orangey for my skin type. But yeah, I naturally have like quite a light complexion with quite a strong yellow undertone, yellow olive undertone, so this is a little too orange as you can see comparing to my neck. But yeah, overall the coverage, as I mentioned previously, it's pretty high, and also it's not super dewy or tacky a formulation, so once this sets, it kind of removes a lot of that shiny effect, but at the same time it gives me the desired coverage I need. It isn't the most hydrating kind of a formulation, but I tend to look for that when I look for BB cushions, just because I don't really like that super dewy effect when I haven't even applied any sort of skincare product. If the formulation itself is so dewy, then when I do apply moisturizer, or if I apply like a dousing of a mist, it will just give me a lot of shine, which I don't generally like. Yep, so on this side, I'm just going to be trying the Super BB Cushion Fresh Matte version. It comes in this case. And when I open it, it comes in a blue finishing, so very similar, but just in a blue finishing, which is really cute. It looks very Tiffany & Co. with the blue finish. So similarly, it comes with the same puff, which is really quite dense. I'm just gonna remove the seal. And this is in light, so it's one shade lighter, and I find that this to be pretty fair and brightening, but it is a little more yellow rather than orange. So I'm just going to apply it on this half. On this side I have more acne scarring, so you can see how well it covers all my problematic areas. As you can see, compared to this side, the shade match really isn't anything close, but as I mentioned, I picked up two different colors. What I can say is that the coverage and the way it applies is very similar, and this cushion is very saturated with product, so you do want to push into the cushion a little lighter than you actually would, because it might pick up a little too much product. I found that because I went in so deep, it actually covered most of my face, so that's good. Another thing is that the seal isn't the tightest, so it might dry out during the period of being stored in whichever area you do, because it's just not super airtight, if that makes sense. So in any case, the coverage looks really similar to this side. A lot of my acne problems have been covered and I don't seem to require a concealer, and that's my personal opinion, just because I'm alright if a little bit of blemish is surfacing, but I don't want to look super flawless as well, just so that it looks really skin-like and natural. So in terms of that demi-matte or matte kind of a finish, it is a little tacky at the moment, but I'll give this a while to set. Comparatively to this side, as you can see, there's not much shine, which I mentioned the original formula isn't that dewy. So I didn't really see it as a problem. Like, if it was so dewy, then I'll be like, I wish this had a matte formulation. But as you can see, the original formulation has already set and there's not much shine. On this side, it's a little tacky. Like I mentioned, I'll give it a while to set, but it really feels kind of the same, if that makes sense. It doesn't strike me as anything too mattifying at this point. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it at the moment. I'll just take you out further so we can see left and right whether or not there's noticeable differences. Okay, so as you can see, the one thing is actually the shade that's super obvious in terms of this side's a lot tanner, this side's a lot more brightened, but I'm not sure what you guys think. I honestly feel like this side looks a lot more skin-like. It's a satin finish to the skin, which means that it isn't too dewy, it isn't too wet, or it isn't too oily looking. It just feels very much like skin, and as I move my face, it kind of reflects this kind of shine at just the high points of the face, making it look really skin-like. On this side, as it's starting to set, it's actually a little bit more matte. It isn't powdery matte, so that's something you shouldn't mix up, because if you're expecting something that's like really dry and kind of like a setting powder kind of a finish, then you wouldn't get that. But yeah, it does look really natural as well, but I can tell that I have product on the skin in a certain way. Maybe I did apply a little too much, but I find that with that one press, it gave me an even coating all around. So yeah, it isn't super matte by any means, but it does look a little more, I wouldn't say drying, but it just looks a little less hydrated than this side, because this side it kind of like just glides over the face, and then when I smile or in my fine lines, it kind of just sinks into them and then bounces back up quite evenly. On this side, as I smile, I find the skin looks a little more tight and it looks a little bit less dewy. So yeah, it does give a sort of mattifying effect, but it isn't super matte. So if you are someone with combination skin and you want something less dewy, this might be one to consider. But noticeably, I think both formulations perform pretty similarly. I will try to apply my makeup on top and we'll see how that applies in terms of whether there's any shift, or you know, whether the acne gets exposed and that kind of thing. So I'll just check back in when I get my makeup done. Okay, so I'm done with my makeup and this is my morning check-in. As you can see, similarly, same sentiments, both sides don't match, which might be an eyesore to some of you, but for me, I'm just testing out the formula here, because generally if I wanted to go for more of a tan look, I would use the cushion in 03 Naturals just so that I can get a little more of a tan or colour to my skin. But if I wanted that really brightening effect, I'll go for 02. I'm in NC20 to NC25, so I can kind of dabble with both shades. But as you can see, both sides are looking really similar in terms of finish. I did not use any setting powder, nor did I use any sort of powdered products. I just use all cream products, and I can see that this side still feels a little bit tacky, even though I've given it substantial amount of time to set. This side as well, but you know, it's just really similar in finish. The looks of it, when I look into the mirror, this side does look a little more dewy than this side. just based on looks. So if I touch it, they're both equally tacky, they're both equally damp, but on this side it does look like there's a little more shine as compared to this side. Only the high points of my cheeks there's a shine because I put a highlight on, but other than that it doesn't look too shiny. So if I had to say whether or not this is like a fresh matte kind of a finish, depending on the claims, whether they mean fresh matte like a semi matte or like a hybrid between a satin and an actual mattifying foundation, then this is really doing its job in that sense. But it's not a solid total drying kind of a matte finish, so I feel like it sits really comfortably on the skin, and I much prefer that kind of a demi matte finish rather than a super matte finish. So yeah, I have not much else to add at this point. Coverage wise, both are doing really well. In terms of setting and whether it sticks to the skin, it doesn't really do that. So you do have to be careful if you're applying anything on top. If you're using powdered products, don't blend too rigorously. Try to use tapping motions or stippling motions so that the base or the foundation coverage does not turn out to be a little patchy at certain areas. So yeah, other than that, I have not much else to add. So it's about 8 AM and I'll check back in when I get back. Hi everyone, so I'm back from a pretty long day, and as you can see I'm looking pretty shiny now. It's not really very pleasant on the skin. I feel like I really want to just remove a lot of the makeup that's on my face. A few of the acne spots have been surfacing, so it's not transfer proof by any means. Transfer proof meaning that if you rub, it will come off. And also you might want to set this with powder for people with oily skin. Unless you want to look like this, then leave it be, but if you don't, then maybe set the vital areas with a little bit of setting powder. Other than that, I think that everything's looking pretty good. Would I say that the matte side held up better than the normal side? I don't think so. The fresh matte side is equally, I wouldn't say long lasting, but it performs exactly the same way as the Super BB cushion, the original formula. Nothing too different here. Both sides are looking really oily, but yeah, substantially this side looks a lot more oily compared to this side. But I mean, it's not that different in terms of how it wears, because if this is going to be mattifying, I would want it to show significant difference, if that makes sense. So like I mentioned, this tends to be a drugstore product, so the casing or the technology behind how airtight the lock is may not be that great, but other than that, that's something you can look past by just kind of using it more or just keeping it in a non-breezy area in room temperature. So that's all I really have to say. I think that both are really good. It's just that there's not much changes. I would suggest, if you're going to pick up either and you're around my skin type, to just go with this one, just because I like the packaging better. But they really perform very similarly. In terms of shade, there's only two shades, 03 Natural and 02 Light. So if you want something more of a brightening complex, then go for 02. If you want a little bit of a tan, NC25 to maybe an NC30 kind of a shade range, then go for Natural. But other than that, not much difference here. I wish they did come up with a few more shade ranges so people of deeper, darker skin tones can benefit, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, not much else to add. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!